bit of a controversy this week when the owner of the Golden State Warriors went out and said he doesn't care about human rights and genocide in China. Well, actually, this guy apparently owns 2% of the Golden State Warriors. So, I mean, still impressive. He's obviously super rich, but I think if you add up my wife and my daughter's share, we might be 2% owners of the Green Bay Packers for what it's worth. So, as a fellow owner of a major sports franchise, I feel like I need to comment on this story. So this guy's also a max donor to the Democratic Party of Wisconsin, a lot of the Senate candidates that are running on the Democratic side right now, which makes sense because the Democratic donor base, Wall Street, big tech, Hollywood, the entertainment industry, the NBA, they have all sold their soul to communist China. And I think a lot of Americans hear comments like this and they think, how's it possible someone could say that? Well, a few things going on here. One, and most obviously greed, right? I mean, these people have made billions and billions of dollars off China, and they don't want the ride to end. The NBA in particular continues to make money off China and has repeatedly bent the knee to Xi Jinping whenever he's demanded it. And in the process revealed their hypocrisy, right? Because a lot of these people are the same ones constantly lecturing us about how racist America is, or constantly lecturing us about climate change. These are the same people that turn a blind eye to the Chinese Communist Party's genocide and depravity. So spare us the moral high ground there. But it's actually bigger than that. If you listen to the whole podcast, this guy, Chamath, says that human rights and genocide is just not a priority compared to a few things. He says he cares about supply chain issues. He says, I care about the fact that our economy could turn on a dime if China invades Taiwan. I care about that. I care about climate change, he says. Okay, this is important because it actually illustrates the irony and stupidity of what these useful idiots for the Chinese Communist Party are saying. Because if you care about supply chain issues, well, perhaps the biggest thing we learned in the pandemic over the last 2 years is how dangerously dependent we are on China for the manufacturing of basic goods and things like life-saving drugs or rare earths. If you truly care about supply chain issues, then your top priority should be weaning America off of our crippling dependency on Chinese slave labor. Of course, he's not. If you're worried about China invading Taiwan, well, ignoring China's genocide is going to make that more, not less likely, because it sends the signal that we won't stand up to them. Put differently, if China can get away with genocide and America does nothing, America turns a blind eye, well, then surely they conclude they can get away with invading Taiwan and America will do nothing and turn a blind eye. Also, if you care about climate change, well, what country is doing more to destroy the environment than any other country in the world? It's China, right? If you care about climate change, then you should be shaming China for tripling down, not just on slave labor, but also on coal-fired power plant production. That should be above your line. That should be a top priority. Finally, the 2% owner of the Warriors says caring about genocide is a luxury belief, and that, quote, until we actually clean up our own house, the idea that we step outside of our borders with us sort of like morally virtue signaling about somebody else's human rights track record is deplorable, unquote. I think that really gets to the heart of it, because at the heart of progressive policy vis-a-vis China is not just hypocrisy and greed. It's a moral equivalence between us and China. It's this delusional belief that America is irredeemably racist and imperialist, and therefore we don't have the moral authority to criticize China. By the way, this is the exact same thing that the Chinese diplomats, the wolf warriors, tell us when they sit across from our officials in Alaska like they did last year. And it's this blame America first mindset that in some ways looks at China with envy, right? They look at this gangster party state, this techno-totalitarian government where a small group of super powerful party members run everything. And they can leverage technology in order to engineer souls. And they think, goals AF. You know, if only America could be more like that. It's absolutely repugnant. So tech bros, keep donating to Democrats, keep apologizing for genocide, because it really clarifies whose side you're on.